All right, here we go. Going on to game 3. In the frigid expanse of the North Atlantic, between Iceland and Scandinavia, lie the Faroe Islands. Beautiful and isolated, these wind-swept shores will shortly be the setting of a desperate struggle between opposing navies. This is Shards. Shards is a 42 by 42 kilometer domination-style map with 3 cap points running in a line from southwest to northeast. The A cap is in the bottom left, B is in the center, and C is in the top right. Changes made to Shards in Update 0.8.1 have made it a very unpopular map in some regions, and many teams remain uncomfortable playing on it. In the lower left and upper right corners of the map, the A and C caps pose quandaries for both teams. Half of each cap circle is wide open, while the other half is constricted by islands that form a narrow set of channels. How they choose to handle these corner caps forms the backbone of a team's strategy for dealing with Shards. Some teams will opt to try and capture from the side most open to them, forcing the enemy to attack through the channels. Others will opt to push through the channels quickly and bag the cap themselves, then use the open side of the cap for defense. At the center of all this chaos lies Cap B with its own maddening configuration. Islands punctuate the circular cap like a set of lawnmower blades, centered around another low-topped island smack in the middle of the cap. The island cover seems likely to encourage a lot of camping cruisers and hide-and-seek destroyers. Previous events in clan battle seasons have shown us that while teams spawn in the northwest and southeast, play will typically revolve around an axis that runs from the C cap in the northeast corner down to the A cap in the southwest, while both teams vie for control of Capture Area B. 18 ships, 2 teams, 1 victor. It's time to play Shards. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Game 3 for all the marbles here on Shards in Group C.
Yes, and I'm happy to report that Little Blackjack is now wearing protection.
Oh, he learned his mistake, did he?
Oh,
all
boy.
right.
I know some people sometimes like to tune in to the broadcast and listen, even from the clan. I'm surprised that nobody PM'd him from his team or anything, you know? It's like, dude, Zeth called you out.
I'm staying out of this, kids. All right. I'm not seeing... I feel like there's a small lineup change on our side. We've dropped the Henri for a Moskva. Ringo's in a Moskva this game. That seems to be it. You guys have made some changes.
Yeah, your favorite ship is back.
I know. I'm so excited. I almost feel like I have to root for them just because of that, Zath. I'm such a loser.
No, hey, if that means my team wins, I'm perfectly happy with that.
All right, so we're going for a very, very heavy A push. Moskva, Stalin, Moskva, Salem, and Kremlin, all moving diagonally southwest in about H6 and 7 as they go down towards the A cap. Desert Rat's Daring is in F6. He's about to start reversing backwards to try and get into the B cap. Shima, Smolensk, and Burgonia headed up the 9 line going towards C.
You know, B-Ray's taking up a very interesting position. He's at that volcano on C5, and he's just snuggled up to it. I think he's expecting a big push through C cap.
He's going to be badly disappointed.
Oh, I know what he's doing. He's looking for a shot on the typical Des Moines / Moskva / Salem spot on that island on the south side of that lawnmower blade. You know, F6.
Well, okay, so that is where Desert Rat is now. As the B cap starts to change hands, or he starts to pick it up. That's where Desert Rat is sitting.
Yep. And Summers, Private Joker, has already sent torpedoes in that general direction.
Some of them passing by Desert Rat's starboard side now, but well clear of those. They're taking pot shots at that spot. They know where to look. The Stalingrad, who is that? Back in E3, took a pot shot over there. More shells continuing to come in. They know he's there. He's going to get the cap, though. They can't stop it now. They needed the shells to land, and they didn't.
Still, you got to give him props for trying.
Well, they do bag an early cap. That's going to put some pressure on Rogue Fleet here. Desert Rat picking up B very quickly here. As, let's see, this is Elgar Salem is now the closest ship to the A cap for OO7. He is in H5, moving up with this island off his starboard side. Everyone else is on the J line.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, he's being pinged right now. They know something's there. They don't know what it is, and I'm hoping Private Joker doesn't back out so far enough to find out.
He's radaring now. They've now spotted Private Jokers as Summers. It's going to be too late to stop the cap. They cannot get shells on him in time. In fact, they don't get shells on him at all.
Yeah, that was a beautiful Kremlin salvo. Sadly, it missed, but...
Yep. He's leaving the cap now. He actually, if he's not careful, he's going to run right into Desert Rat's daring. I mean, in fact, Desert is actually turning to court this engagement. He's closing the gap.
Clicking over there.
Yeah. If that Summers comes around the island, we're going to see a destroyer slap fight. There he is.
Oh, here it is.
5 kilometers, 4.6 kilometers apart. Summers has a lot of guns, but they don't reload that quickly. This is a fight that the Daring has a bit of an advantage in. He does get a little bit of help from the Stalingrad. That's Revan's Stalingrad. Gets a few shells into the desert. And the smoke, he does manage to sneak away.
Little disappointing there, Joker using that smoke right off the bat, because I think Elgar's Salem is within radar range. Oh, torpedoes spotted.
Whose
Joker's
torpedoes?
fine.
Oh, yeah.
From your Daring.
Correct. The Daring launched those in an early, before he knew the engagement was coming. He launched those early.
Ah, premature torpedoing.
Elgar under some fire here, but he's got a pretty good position to beat up on Revan Stalin, which is exactly what he's doing. Stalin looking in that direction. Sorry. Salem looking in that direction. Kremlin kind of looking at the Stalin as well. They're trying to get. It's the Smolensk. There's a Smolensk back on the one line that's trying to farm Elgar.
You know, it's just weird seeing so many Moskvas and Stalingrad just sitting there. Like,
yep. Well, okay,
come
so
and get us.
Double Strike is obviously making their play at A. They're holding but they're all stopped. I don't like this, Zath. Okay, so if you look at I3, Ducky, Heavy 20, and Ringo's Moskva are just sitting there, just camped.
I know.
Whereas
I was looking at them a second ago.
They need to be sending one of those ships or two of those ships around the one line.
Check BCAP. Private Joker just detected Desert Rat. Nope.
Yep, I see that. Rat goes dark because Joker's back behind his smoke again. Rat had moved up to put torpedoes onto Siege Crafts' Kremlin. Those torpedoes are in the water.
Radar going up by Revan. He's figuring he's probably going down.
Revan's
soon,
probably going out.
Yeah.
But I just can't understand why these 3 cruisers are sitting here. Like, they could be pushing these guys out of here. And they're just chilling. Yep.
But at the same time, they're absolutely not afraid of siege crafts in the Kremlin, especially Bao'an.
Do you remember the game that we watched earlier with KSC on Shards, right? How they pushed the enemy team, they pushed Starbreast Sila Veracruz down onto the bottom half of the map, right? Mm-hmm. Look at OO7's board position. They've done it to themselves. They voluntarily allowed themselves to be herded into this position.
I know.
I don't like this, Saf.
I'm screenshotting this.
I don't like this, Saf. There's no reason for them to have stopped this play at A. It's costing them time they don't have. They're now 100 points, 150 points down. They do finally bag Revan Stalin. They're probably going to get Siegecraft's Kremlin as well, which is points they desperately need. But they didn't have to give up this much territory to do it. They've kind of allowed themselves to get pushed down here.
But, like, you know, I mean, who's going to push them back? I mean, both the ships that they just destroyed are the standard bow-in, you know,
holding spots.
Outlast kind of ship. And they just ripped right through them with the force of, you know, the Burgundia in the background, the Salem, and the 3 cruisers.
I mean, they may find a way to make this work. I just know that earlier when we saw a team let this happen to them, it ended very, very badly. And that's kind of the fear that I have here is that they may have chosen this position and it doesn't work. Both.
Yeah. Well.
Go ahead.
Different teams though.
Right.
So we'll have to see what happens.
Both RF destroyers in the B cap.
They're concentrating all their radar down there, so.
Yeah. Both RF destroyers in the B cap now. As finally, there's some Summers torpedoes coming through this gap on the bottom of A that's going to cause these cruisers to move a little bit. It looks as if Elgar and Poon are finally going to get onto A, as both Desert and Alpine are both in the same grid square now as well. They're both in G6, kind of crossing over, trying to figure out how they might be able to get into the B cap, since there's pretty much no way for them to run north and get into C. The Des Moines position set up at E8 prevents that from happening.
Now, Strong Silvered Bias over here is down to 5k in the Smolensk. If he goes down, then that opens up the entire back door.
I see it. Yep, I see him now. Okay, way over here on the 9 line. That might end up being RF's first kill of the game. He's getting some help from the Burgonia. The Burgonia is now rotating back to help to try and keep this Henri honest, at least. He's healing as well.
Yeah, and the Henri is doing what we never want to see an Henri do, which is stop bowing. Meanwhile, Burgonia just beached himself.
Yep. Halfway mark of the match. And RF is working on nearly a 200-point lead, despite the fact that they're upside down on ship kills by 2 ships. They've given up a battleship and a heavy cruiser, but they briefly owned all 3 caps. OO has now managed to claw back the A cap, trying to find their way into the B cap, it would seem, or at least trying to get oriented for that. But right now, they're not even close to it. The Daring and the Shima aren't even close. The Des Moines is now pitched a tent. Over there, they're never going to get back into that cap, at least not easily. If they can kill the Henri, if they can kill B-Ball's Henri, they at least have the possibility of snuggling up one of the destroyers and stopping the points out of the B cap. But by then, they're going to be almost 300 points down.
Yeah, and now, unfortunately for B-Ball, the Smolensk got himself into smoke, so...
Yep, and he's got spotters.
He's probably going to go down here.
He's got plenty of spotters. Alpine Rooster sitting over there, the Burgonia sitting over there. Burgonia's not really hitting him that hard, but every shell counts.
It's just the spotting that matters in this case. Cause,
Absolutely.
I mean, that IFHE 130mm is just going to chew him up.
Yep.
And he's got to be careful too. If he gets too close to that smoke, Smolensk has 8-kilometer torps.
I mean, all Rogue Fleet has to do is simply not die. Just pull back and don't die. They're probably going to bag Ringo here. That's gonna shorten the timer. So even if they lose B-Ball, if they can trade and they can hold on, they can trade Ringo for B-Ball, that leaves them exactly where they are. Like, no change. And they're under 2 minutes now with the caps that they own.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Des Moines, Ruthven, taking at least 2 torpedoes here, maybe 3.
Oh, that's
huge.
huge.
He just took 2.
That's huge, though. They are calling for focus fire on him now. They do trade the Henri for the Moskva. Poon and Elgar managed to dodge Summers' torps as they are scrambling to get onto the B cap. They do bag the Des Moines. That's huge. That might have just changed the entire game.
Oh, absolutely. That was a huge misplay on the side of the both the Henri and the Des Moines over there.
That completely
Trying
opened.
so hard to get that Smolensk out.
Yep. And now Rogue Fleet is the one on the back foot. They're basically now they're shoved onto the north half of the map. There's nothing they can do about B. Not easily, because there's too much help there for Desert Rat's Daring. And they've managed to preserve OO has managed to preserve all of their ships and all of this health. They've only lost Ringo.
That's crazy.
I can't believe this result. 3 minutes ago, I was convinced RF was going to win this game. Ooh, they just put a big hit into Ducky. Yamato shells beating up Ducky shot.
Yep, focus fire being called for Ducky now as he's trying to reverse and heal.
He's trying to reverse and go dark if he can manage it. But there's a Smolensk gunning for him. He's going to struggle.
And Elgar takes down Private Joker.
They bag the Summers. That almost ties the game up. We'll have a lead change in moments. Nope. They trade again. Ducky shot does go down here. 7 minutes to play. This game's just been a bit of a bloodbath as OO is up 3 ships here and a cap. There will be a lead change at some point in the near future.
Oh, absolutely. As this as B-Ray is pretty much trapped.
He's screwed. B-Ray is screwed. The Salem is going to come through the gap, up the 5 line right behind him, and absolutely destroy him. And he's got nowhere to run. He can't prevent it.
Nope. Said it before, when you go to that lawnmower blade, you get cut.
Yep. Elgar's radar now picking up Blackjack's daring. The BW Ray Smolensk now knows just how badly he's screwed. They're going to beat up on the daring a little bit before he switches to the AP and finishes off the Smolensk here, I'm sure. The only play that BW has is to try for a torpedo strike, but I doubt he's going to get there. Nah.
Oh, nope.
AP's going to just end this conversation very quickly. I mean, it's hilarious when you think about it, but those two ships reload at almost the same speed. And the Salem shells are twice the diameter. 5 minutes to play. Double Strike working on a brilliant comeback here on the strength of a game-saving torpedo salvo from Alpine Rooster. Now, they may lose Elgar. I don't know. I haven't seen one of his fancy Salem heals in a while, but he's getting very low. The daring shells are wrecking him. They do bag him. Wow. Alpine is now in C. That's going to stop all point gains from RF. And BW is alive on 39 hit points in smoke. Shells coming in. They miss.
Oh.
They miss him.
More coming. They're fishing.
They have to. Like, you can't let him live on 39 hit points. There we go. They finally bag him. Still haven't seen a lead change yet. RF still leads this game. That's how big their lead was. There it is.
Yeah.
Double Strike finally moves out into the lead with 4.5 minutes to play. 60 seconds on the timer. Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw it on your angle, but from what I saw, it felt like very similar problems to the last game where the destroyers were just afraid to fight. Like, we saw early the Summers Private Joker going after Desert Rat, and instead of keeping the engagement live when he had a Stalingrad and Yamato to back him up, he hit the smoke and turned and ran. And then later, same thing happened south of B-Cap.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the first one because we were watching it, and then of course he did manage. I didn't catch much of the other one, but wow, what a game! A game that they were down just huge, and we were kind of mocking the cruisers, the stationary cruisers at A. Despite that, they managed to come back and find a way. As the daring is still not done, he's determined to make this a game. He's into B.
Never say die.
It's not going to matter. There's no less than 10 seconds on the timer here. Oh, Get Wrecked takes a huge salvo. I know. A massive salvo there from the Kremlin. But time ticks away. Double Strike wins their first match of the day, Zaf.
That's got to feel good for them.
It has to feel good for them. Though, especially since they lost game 1. And they came back to win games 2 and 3.
Well, and I had commented on the first game we broadcast, it didn't look like a 007, but these past 2 games definitely look like 007.
Very much so.